is going on, friends? It is Ben with Bearded Spruce back for another DIY tutorial. Today we're up at my mountain house. We just built this recently and we have loved the experience so far, but it is a bunch of white walls because that's what we chose, and we want to spice it up, kind of bring some texture, bring some life into it, bring some character. So one of those things that we were thinking is we needed some kind of texture on this fireplace surround. To do this, we're gonna make this kind of faux topography looking style and make it a whole fireplace surround. To do that, I'm gonna use this 3/4 inch plywood. I chose maple because I like the color and the texture of that style wood, but you can actually go cheaper. This sheet is just part of it, right? But for a 4x8 sheet of maple 3/4 inch plywood, it's about 90 bucks. You can actually go cheaper. I think it's pine probably. They don't even call it pine. It's just pre-sanded 3/4 inch plywood at Lowe's or Home Depot or Menards, wherever you are, or your lumber yard. It's probably around 50 bucks, so you could definitely go cheaper, but this is gonna be a statement piece, and I wanted to go with maple because I just love that color, that style, that texture. So to do this project, we need a few tools. One is an angle grinder, along with this adapter that kind of scrapes and molds the topography. I'll link to the tools down below that I'm using. I really like these tools. This kind of adapter that I found on Amazon. There's a few different, I think there's 3 different pieces to it, so I might play with those and see which one I like best so I can tell you which one to use. And then you need a nail gun, some glue, a tape measure, a pencil, and a few other little odds and ends that we'll go through, but it's a pretty simple project. It's gonna make this space just really kind of have a fun vibe to it. But before we get started, I just want to say thanks for watching. I love my community, this group of people that watch my videos. Even if you're not subscribed, I really enjoy that you're watching my videos. Feel free to subscribe and smash that bell icon so you're notified when more videos come out. But honestly, I just really enjoy the fact that people enjoy my content, they interact with it, they leave comments, sometimes good, sometimes bad. I really enjoy the feedback either way. So continue to enjoy my content, like the videos, dislike the videos, try it yourself. One thing that I wanted to mention before I get started is I'm gonna do this fireplace surround, but some other applications for this is kind of interesting. So you could do a backsplash, especially if you seal it really well, with some waterproof, finish. I think that would be really cool, as well as the guy that we found this originally is actually on YouTube as well. I'm gonna link to that video below because I just think he's awesome and he inspired this project. He makes little, I think 15-inch by 15-inch boards that are art pieces with this topography style, and he's really what inspired us to make this video and to make this project a reality. So I linked to that in the description below. I also link to all of the tools I use, like I mentioned before, in the description below as affiliate links. Feel free to buy stuff through those affiliate links. I get a tiny little portion of that sale through Amazon, or don't. It's totally up to you. So I'm gonna get started. First things first, we're actually going to measure both of these side panels. So I think you can tell in the video that it kind of comes to an angle over here, and then one over here as well. So I'm gonna cover up here and here first, and then we're gonna build this piece that's gonna be a little bit behind the TV itself. So first we're gonna measure this guy, and I'm gonna overlap to basically cover this little gap. So at the top, it's 12 inches. At the bottom, It's 12 inches. I'm just gonna measure in the middle just to make sure. 12 inches by, I think what I'm gonna do is go right below the top as well. So let's see, I don't want to interfere with the top of that. So I'm going to do 31 and an eighth by 12 for this first piece. And we'll go through that process, and then it's going to be copy and paste throughout that process. So we're going to make that piece that's 12 inches wide by 31 and an eighth tall. To do this, we're actually going to hop into the basement and use my new tool that I acquired. So let's jump down there. And I'll go. To cut these down to size, I'm going to use a track saw. If you don't have a track saw, you can use a circular saw or a table saw. If you're going to use a circular saw, just use some kind of straight edge and some clamps. I just bought this track saw and I'm trying it out. It's by Craig. I bought it a few months ago, and so hopefully sometime this next year I'll do some kind of review on it. But I like it so far. I only have one of the tracks. But the cool thing about this is for a sheet of plywood, it goes all the way across horizontally, so it's really easy to cut some sheet goods down to size. So if you have none of these tools, you can actually go to Lowe's or Home Depot, or probably Menards too, depending on where you are in the country, and have them cut down to the size that you need the actual material. Sometimes you have to wait a little bit, but it's totally worth it if you don't have a saw at your disposal. If you do want to get into stuff like this, go ahead and get you a circular saw and some kind of angle iron, L-shaped iron and some clamps, and you can do this at home really easily with all those materials. If you need some cutting tips, I'll link to a video that I did recently on how to do stuff on the cheap and just some other cutting techniques in general. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure this. It's gonna be 12 inches wide. The nice thing about a track saw is you just mark on either end. Line this guy up with those two hash marks, and it's pretty grippy, so you don't even really need clamps. And then I'm going to go ahead and rip this. Once we have that cut done, we're going to grab this 12-inch piece, get this out of the way, and then the other measurement is 32 inches, 31 and an eighth. So I'm going to do the same thing right there. There. So that is our first side right there. And we're going to go on to the next step, which is going to use the angle grinder. So I'm going to go outside for this next step. All right, so now that we have the piece cut to the right size, I have my grinding wheel attached. Make sure anytime you remove or change this out that it's unplugged. It's pretty easy to switch this on. Like I said, I'll link to these in the description below. This kit actually comes with 4 different options. I tried all of them and this one's the best. It's like the curved one, and so unfortunately I don't have a clamp, but it would be really nice to have one. It's just kind of difficult to work with one hand, but I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna pop on some headphones for ear protection. I have my sunglasses out here on my deck for eye protection. So it is extremely dusty process, but I will show you the best I can. As you can see here, it's pretty difficult to control this wheel, but you're kind of going for like a random groove feel. I definitely think that having a clamp or some kind of ratchet strap that you'll see later in this process that I realized that I had in the truck would help greatly, because it is a crazy forearm workout, and it definitely helped to have 2 hands later in this process, because while making this size piece kind of grooved and fun topography style, I had a lot of surface area to cover doing this process with all 3 pieces. And so if you're doing a small art piece, holding it with one hand and doing this with another would be fine, but it definitely gets exhausting. You can also see all the dust being kicked around. Definitely do this outside in a well-ventilated area, and clothes that you can just throw in the wash after you shake off. So you can see I switch hands here because I'm getting pretty tired with one hand. Also do it on a surface that you don't really care about. This is an old table of ours that you can see there's like metal from another project that I did. So do it on something that can take a beating and that your wife is not going to get angry about. You can see I got smart here and decided to go look in my truck for something that could clamp it down, and this helped a ton because I could use both hands, one on the handle and then one kind of controlling where the groove was going, and this was a game changer. Definitely grab something to help you in this process, because 2 hands is still exhausting. If you have a friend or a spouse or someone that could help you with this, it is, I don't think I can say it enough, it is a crazy forearm workout. So the finished product is definitely worth it, but wow, it was a lot of work. So once I got it the look I wanted and kind of the grooves and all that kind of stuff, I came back with some 220 grit sandpaper in my palm sander and just went through the whole thing and made sure that there wasn't any sharp edges or any loose pieces of wood that someone could get a splinter from. I think since it's right at that like low level, kids will probably touch it a lot potentially. It's a pretty inviting texture kind of look, and so make sure you just kind of knock off any sharp edges or anything that someone could get a splinter from. So go through the whole thing and sand it and just kind of work in all of the grooves and make sure you kind of get it to the look and feel that you want it. So the next step is to attach it to the wall, and you can see it fits pretty much perfect. So it overlaps on the fireplace to cover up this gap. It's actually the same on the other side too. So I'm going to cut the same exact size. other side. And really this process, it's pretty simple. You just put a bunch of glue on the back. Like that. And then I'm going to use 18 gauge, 1.25" nails, and you just kind of make sure that it's exactly where you want it, like that. And then we're just gonna nail it to the wall. And really all the nails are doing is holding it while the glue sets. I do know where the studs are, so there's a stud here, so I'm gonna run along those lines. But really, you just wanna get it in the drywall. And make sure it's nice and flat everywhere. Like that. And then once the glue sets up, it'll be nice and snug. So now I'm gonna repeat this process for the other two pieces, one on the left side of the fireplace and then one that will cap off the top here. And I made sure that I kind of took the edge off all along all the sides, and then like you saw in the video, I sanded it to kind of smooth out everything so there's no splinters in case someone comes up to touch it. So I'm gonna go do the other two pieces and then we'll come back to wrap up this video. All right, here it is. A few notes that if you're gonna do a project like this, I would definitely take into consideration. One, it is a crazy forearm workout. It might be beneficial to have a friend or two of you to trade off as you're grinding. It is exhausting. Two, use a clamp. I showed a little bit later in the process me using a ratchet strap because I'm up at the mountain house and I don't have any clamps handy. But definitely use some kind of clamp. Then you can use two hands to really like dig into the wood with the grinder. And then three, it is so messy. Definitely do this outside somewhere that you don't care. There's a bunch of sawdust. It got everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I was like covered. I've dusted off a bunch and I'm gonna shake my clothes out in a little bit and toss them in the wash, but it turned out super cool. One option that you could do is do a single piece out of the plywood and then you wouldn't have this line here. I kind of like it because it kind of defines, like, it looks like a typical mantle piece, having like the top piece and then the sides kind of supporting. But you could just cut out, you know, where the fireplace goes and then grind the entire thing. It's totally up to you, totally your style, whatever you choose. One thought too is, I don't know if I'm gonna finish this. I kind of like the raw look and the variation of like some of the dark marks from it burning a little bit as I got farther into the process when the grinder was getting hot. You could do a water-based poly to kind of seal it. It would protect it from fingerprints and just kind of aging. I might do that, but I don't know. I kind of like it just raw, and I like it how it kind of goes up a little bit above the TV here, but to each their own. Like if you wanted to do a color, you could definitely do that. That would be super cool. Or any kind of poly kind of sealing that. So there it is in all its glory. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate my audience, which is you. You're watching right now. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, like this video, hit that notification bell if you want to see more videos in the future. I'm going to continue to make these and other videos, DIY, tool reviews, all that kind of stuff. So subscribe, watch, or just click to the next video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.